Okay, hello. It's Tia. Welcome to the tutorial for your HOP Easter class. Here's the materials that should be in your kit. Your sizes of icing might be a little bit different than mine because I'm just kind of using what I have here. But you should have a big white. You should have these colors, yellow, orange, pink, purple, green, blue, and then you should have a little black and a little white. You're also going to need some scissors to cut your bags open and a pokey thing or a toothpick. So, which I know it's called a scribe, in case anyone weird is watching the tutorials and thinks I don't know that it is called a scribe and not a pokey thing. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is give all of your icing bags a good little massage before we cut them open. Some of mine are already cut open. This one's not, so that I can show you. But give it a good massage in case any of the syrups and sugars started to separate a little bit. Okay, so all of the colors first, you need to cut little openings because we're going to do the little plaid lines and we don't want huge openings in our icing bags to do those lines. A little bit later, we're gonna cut them open a little bit bigger. So let me see if I can hold it close enough for you to get a good look. Okay, I'm going to cut about that much off. Let me see if I can get the tip. There, that's how much I cut off. So it's a little opening. It should make a line about that wide, so not very wide. You might also want a paper towel or something to wipe extra icing or your hands on. Okay, so all of your colors and your little black and little white, I would cut about that size, maybe even a little bit smaller than that for these two. Your white, we're gonna start, again, giving it a good massage, but your big white, the first thing we're going to do with this is outline and then do a bunch of flooding. So we're going to make a little bit bigger of a cut in this, about there. So that's how much I cut off of this, and it should make a thicker line. And then later when you're flooding, if you feel like your flood is taking too long, you can cut that one bigger too. But that's where we're going to start. Okay, so we're working with royal icing. If you've had a class with me before, you know that we're using royal icing. If you don't have the recipe, send me a message and I will email you the recipe that I use. And we're going to get started. Okay, I think all of my bags I already cut except for my orange. And I cut my green. Okay, I'm gonna back these bad boys off. So the first things that we're going to outline and work on are the letters and heart for HOP. So first, with our big white, we're going to outline these. I'm going to try to stay out of the way on camera so that you can see what I'm doing. And we want to outline pretty close to the edge, but not so close that you can't pick up your cookie and give it a little shake to help the icing settle flat. You can see on my H right there, I had a little air bubble that broke my line. So I'm just gonna start kind of a little bit on top of the line before it broke and then go over that space. Don't try to fill just that space or it will look really blocky. So I usually go up where it was still good really lightly. Make that edge come out a little more. Okay. Outline my heart. And the letter P. Okay, and then if you want to hit pause right here until you have yours outlined. And the next thing we're going to do while we let those outlines dry for a second is we're going to also outline a couple of our other cookies. So I'm gonna outline some more of my cookies that need white. So the egg with the chick standing, the egg with the bunny sitting inside, and the actual bunny. So I'm gonna show you what these will look like in the end, just to give you a visual of what we're outlining. Okay. All right, so we're gonna start with this one. We're only outlining the white right now. So I'm just going to do, I'm not gonna go all the way to the bottom because I want a little bit of the chick's body sticking out. So I don't want my egg to go all the way to the bottom. So I'm gonna go near the bottom. Okay, and then we're just going to give it a little randomly crooked bottom. Okay, now I'm gonna outline just the egg part on this one for now too, and then we'll do the bunny's head in a second. So this egg, like so. Okay, now this one has a few different parts. So get ready. So the first thing we're going to outline are the feet. So we're going to make two big ovals that sit right here at the bottom of the bunny. These are going to be his little feet. We're going to connect the bottom for the body. The head, you can make it just straight like this, like a jelly bean. I think it's kind of cute to have the head go a little bit higher. So I'm going to start a little bit up here and make it like that. And we're just going to connect his little body to his feet and do my two ears. He's going to have an inner ear that's pink, so we're going to outline space for that little inner ear as well. Okay, I'm going to jump back to this one now that this top of the egg had a little second to dry. So all we're going to do is go around this little bunny's head and his ears. Now these are going to have that little inner ear again. It's very hard to make such a tiny space, so I'm just going to kind of double this outline so that it's a really thick outline, and then we'll just do the space that's in the middle pink for the inner ear. Okay, so that's these three outlines. We're going to jump back to our hop cookies now. And whenever, just hit pause, go forward, skip back. If you can look at the picture and then do all of your outlining on your own, feel free to do that. You can just jump around however this makes the most sense for you. Okay, so let's flood this heart first and then get it out of the way. So I like to flood my cookies a little faster, so I am going to cut a little bit bigger hole in my bag. So I just kind of squeeze it so that there's not a bunch of icing, and you do not have to use the world's smallest scissors like I'm using. Any scissors will do. So I'm just going to cut about 1/4 of an inch more off, so it's a pretty decent sized hole now here. Okay, so when you flood, you're just going to squeeze a little harder. You want to fill in all the space. The icing will spread and fill in some little areas, but like if you can see the space between my edge and my icing, it's not going to on its own just spread and fill that space. You have to make it do it. A lot of people I notice in classes will leave those big spaces and try to fill it with their pokey thing or just by shaking it. Sometimes it will fill in a little, but it usually won't fill in a whole lot. Okay, so get it all filled. Give it some little shakes and taps. Use your scribe or toothpick, whatever you're using, and kind of tease down any spots, pop any air bubbles. And that one looks good. I'm gonna set them to the side. Okay, now our H&P. Let me review. So we are going to make this very, very colorful rainbow plaid for these 2 letters. So I'm going to start with just one of them. It doesn't matter what you do first. And we're going to flood it, and then right away we're going to grab our colors and start making our lines. I'm going to use all 6 of my colors, and you can go in a pattern, you can go random, you can do some lines close together, you can do certain colors vertically and certain colors horizontally, or you can do all of them always. On the example, I did every color in both directions, so that's what I'm gonna stick with here. And I'm going to go in rainbow order, so red would be first, so pink will be first for our colorful rainbow. So I'm just gonna start on the left side and make my line. I'm gonna do 2 rows, or 2 repetitions, I guess. So I'm gonna start there. I think I'll do all of mine across. So red, orange will be next. You can tell the hole was cut a little bit bigger in my pink than my orange. That's fine. I think it looks cute. Yellow would be next. And you have to do this right away. Don't wait too long. Nothing bad is going to happen, but if you do it right away, the color will kind of sink into your white and it looks really cute. If you wait a long while, it really will look very similar, but your color will be sitting, your stripes will be sitting on top of the white instead of, oh, my blue curled a little bit down here. They'll sit on top instead of sinking in, is what I was trying to say. And I left a lot of space right here between my 2 repetitions. So you can either fill in another color or just leave it blank. I think I'm going to add another green because that's the middle color. And maybe another yellow. And I forgot purple down here. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same thing with my horizontal stripes. So since I went a little too far the first time, I'm gonna go in a little bit closer this time. Orange. Yellow. The spacing will be better for this. It's not going to be perfect still, but I can live with this. Okay, so there's our little plaid H. I'm gonna set him to the side, and we're going to do the same thing with the letter P. So we're gonna start with flooding with our big white. Sorry. I forget that I'm blocking the camera sometimes. Your little shake. And same thing. So start with my pink stripes. Jump over. And if you like the look of the stripes a little bit bigger, like my pink one is, you can cut all of the holes in all your bags a little bit bigger like that. And if any of your lines break from little air bubbles, maybe it'll happen and I'll get to show you. If not, we can pretend. Oh, that was close. Oh, there we go. Kind of broke. So this one, since it broke right at the beginning, I'm just gonna scrape it off. And go over that spot again. But if it ever breaks in the middle of your line, just go over that section of line a little bit before it broke and keep on going. All right, done with my horizontal, my vertical. Going in with the horizontal line. My icing was starting to curl around a little bit when I was trying to start my line, so I just grabbed it off the tip of the bag before I set it down. There's no need to let it curl onto your cookie. If you can see that it's doing it, grab it before it has a chance. Oh, I'm gonna go across. Okay, so there are our two little plaid letters. And we're not going to work on our heart yet. We're gonna let that keep on drying over here. Okay. We're going to jump back to these 3 cookies now. So, if you're happy with how your yellow and orange are cut right now, you can keep them the way they are for your new outlining. If you want them a little bit bigger, and I'm gonna cut mine just a tiny, like I'm just cutting a smidge off the bag, especially my orange was very narrow. Okay, so first we're gonna finish outlining this little guy. So he's going to get, we're just going to do like the bottom of a square for his little body. And then his feet. So we're gonna do a line down for the leg. And then he's gonna have 3 little toes. Like this. And we're gonna squeeze kind of like a little ball onto each toe. Okay, so his little legs are done now. We just have to flood the body and the egg. So let's go ahead and grab our big white again and flood the top part of the broken egg. Okay. Hard to grab this by his little feet while they're wet. I'm gonna flip it upside down. And so I'm just giving it some little shakes and taps. And pull that down a little bit there. Okay, let's let him dry for a second. Let's come over here and let's flood this bunny's face. And on this one, so we're gonna flood parts that don't touch each other. So I think first I'm gonna do the outsides of the ears and the body. And the reason we don't wanna do parts that touch each other is if you're very careful next to your outlines, you can do it all at the same time. But a lot of the time it's hard not to over flood, and if you over flood them a little, the icing will touch each other and you'll lose your little sections and they'll just run together. So I usually like to do them, give them a little chance to crust. You can see this little spot where I stopped with my icing and picked it up. Usually if you just kind of touch that with your pokey thing, it will sink down. You don't really have to do anything to it, but just kind of tap it a couple times and it will sink. Okay, so I am going to flood the little ears of my guys. And you can see on their ears, they have little white polka dots. So I'm gonna have my little baby white, and your guys' baby whites will be a little bit bigger than mine. These do tend to clog really fast, the little ones, so make sure that it's flowing before you get started. Okay, so I'm going to flood his little ears. So we're just filling them in. And right away, I'm just squeezing little tiny dots into here. And I like to do them down the middle first and then kind of spread them into the sides. And that's just because I like them to be in a pattern. If you don't care and you want them random, then you can just kind of place them wherever you want. Okay, so here's his little ears. I'm gonna do the same thing onto this guy's little ears. My white's not all the way dry, but because these are different colors, it's okay if they kind of touch and run a little bit together. Okay. And again, I'm just gonna start with a row down the middle. And then add some little side to sides. Those two both spread kind of weird. Okay. All right, so we've got our little ears. I made one more row on this side. Oh, great, now it's right. Just kidding, it's okay, but it does bother me. Okay, let's move on. So we've got these little guys starting to dry. Let's go ahead and flood our egg. And our little bunny's head has had a chance to kind of form a little tiny bit of a crust, but I am going to be careful while I flood up here next to my outlines that I don't run over and touch the face, because it's still a little wet. Okay. And he's good. All right, I'm gonna flood my little guy's body here. And this cookie is finished, which is fun. He's a simple one, very cute. All right, so I'm gonna set him to the side. This little one we're gonna let dry for a while before we work on its face. So we just have this guy now, and we have to let this face dry also before we can finish it, but we are going to do something on the feet right away. So I'm going to flood his little face and his big feet with white. Got a little shaky. You can see those little spots where I picked up my icing. So I'm just gonna tap those dots and they go away. All right, so while it's wet, we're going to add the spots on the feet. So he just gets kind of a big oval in the kind of the lower part of the foot, the low middle, and then we're gonna give him 3 little dots above, and those will sink in if you do it while it's wet. All right, we're gonna let this little guy dry. Okay, now you have your 2 eggs, your 2 carrots. I think you have 2 carrots. And your chick. Okay, so I'm only going to do 1 of these each to show you, and then your 1 chick. So I'm not gonna show you both. I'll show you how to do one and you can do the other one the same or a different way. You can freestyle your eggs if you want, but I will show you just one way to do it. Okay, so first let's outline our chick. So you can kind of see the head. You can see the 2 little wings right here. And then in a little bit, you'll see the body. So we're going to outline his head first, and his head stops where these wings begin. So that's where I'm gonna start. So we're just gonna go up. He's got little head feathers. If you forget to outline your little head feathers, you can just add them on separately at the end. And his head just goes right across. So when you see the head turn into wing, that's where you stop and go across. Okay, and then his little body is just kind of like the bottom of a square. And then we're going to outline his little wings. And then his feet and legs, you do just the same way that we did on the one that was stuck in the egg still. So we're gonna give him his 3 little chicken toes and give them big dots on the ends. Okay, and I have my orange, so I'm going to do my carrot. Now you can just go straight down your carrot, or if you want to kind of give it little gentle bumps on the way down, you can. our carrot outline. The top doesn't get an outline. We're just going to make some little leaves. So the way I do it is I kind of squeeze out like a big bead and then squeeze a little bit softer and pull it in toward the carrot body. So thicker bead and then skinnier down in toward there. I'm going to do that a couple more times, and I'm going to make them kind of touch so that they all look like they're coming out of the same part of the carrot. Just kind of play with it till you're happy with how the top looks. Sorry. Okay, and then our egg, you can choose any one of your colors to outline with, and then we're gonna make stripes for the different sections. I think I'm going to use my yellow. There's no reason you can use your white. Our white is already cut pretty big, so you could use your baby white if you want to, but I'm going to use my yellow. So first thing is you're just going to outline around your egg. Then you're going to choose sections. Let me show you how it looks in the end. So we're going to make 6 sections so that we have a section for each color. So I'm going to start by just cutting it in half, kind of diagonally. And then I know I need to add 2 more lines above this. So 1, 2, that'll give me 3 top sections. And I need to add 2 more lines below it. 1, 2. And now I have 6 sections to fill in. And again, you can do these in, I did them on the example in rainbow order, or you can choose your own, whatever you want to do. All right, we're gonna let the slow guy dry since we just did him. And I'm going to do my chick's face first. So the hole that's cut in this yellow is still the outlining length, I guess, diameter. So it's kind of a smaller hole. So it's gonna take a little bit longer to flood than it is with our white. You can cut it bigger if you want, or you can just be patient. You don't wanna take too long to flood, of course, or else it's gonna start drying and crack on you. Okay, I like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and flood his little wings, since I'm going to be careful and not let them touch the head. Okay, now your carrot has white polka dots. So get your white ready, and with your carrot, go ahead and flood it. And again, your flood's gonna be a little bit slower than it is with the white, since I didn't cut a big, huge hole in this. And if you don't want to do stripes, you can do polka dots. I mean, if you don't want to do polka dots, you can do stripes. You can do kind of a spiral with white or orange. If you let it dry and then do a little orange spiral on top of it, it's very cute. I've seen that one a lot. Okay, I'm gonna start about here. And we're just squeezing out spots. It's very close. All right, give a little shake and your dots will sink in. And that cookie is finished. I'll show you how to add a spiral at the end when it's dry too, just if you want to. It does look pretty cute. But in the example, this is the finished cookie. We'll set him to the side. Okay, so now on this, we're gonna flood every other section of our egg. So I'm gonna do the top one, which is pink. And you could also add dots to these if you want. You could do many things with your eggs. If you're wanting to have a crazy time, do one egg like this and then just freestyle your other. So that would be red, orange, yellow. These two middle sections do end up being the biggest. So if you don't want to go in color order, you could use your two colors that you like the best in the middle, since they are the ones that show the most. Orange, yellow, green, blue. And the hole in this blue is still cut very little from our lines. I'm gonna cut that bigger because it's taking too long. That's better. Okay, now a note. We're gonna let this dry for a second. When you fill in the other three sections, when you're shaking it and tapping it to get it to settle, don't be too aggressive, because these three are going to be drying. And if you do these three and then shake it, you're going to settle those nice and flat, but you're gonna make these ones crack. So you just have to be gentle with your shaking. Okay. We're gonna let his body dry. His head dry a little bit more before we add the body. So I'm gonna push those two little guys off to the side, and let's grab our heart. We're gonna make a little bunny face out of our heart. So we are right here. Gonna get your little black. Again, those little ones tend to clog quickly, so give it a little squeeze, make sure that it's flowing. Okay, so let's start with our little, so sorry, I keep bumping the camera. Our little heart nose, and I like to do, again, kind of like a thick bead and pull it down, and then go to the other side and make another bead and pull it down. And then they kind of, since they're attracted to each other, the wet icing, they kind of will pull themselves together a little bit. And you can use your scribe to pull it to a nicer point if you want, or you can see this one's kind of a loose point. I have black icing everywhere now. Okay, so we're going to make our little mouth. So you just make like a W, like a bird. When you're little, start with a line straight down the middle, and then you're going to come to the side, go down level, all the way across, and back up. And that's how you do your little teeth. Add a couple of little whiskery freckle things, and then you're going to add 3 whiskers on either side. There you go, and that one's done. Okay, and we're gonna get our 2 bunnies now. Okay, so I'm gonna put our examples beside so that you can kind of see where we're going here. All right, so I'm going to add my little tiny heart nose first on both of them. Like so. And then they both get little closed eyes. So we're just doing little rainbows for their eyes. Okay, now with your little baby white, let me zoom in here so you can see. Okay, so he's got the little kind of W bird smile again, but the middle has a line that goes up to his nose. So I'm gonna go all the way up to his nose and back down. And then we're just gonna add some whiskers. You can see on this one I only put 2. I'm gonna add 3 on here. Ah! It's okay. Okay. Sorry, a phone call came in and interrupted. So I made the second little face on this guy. He's exactly the same as the bigger one. So we're just going to add some whiskers, and I'm only gonna do 2 on his face since it's a little bit smaller. Okay, so those are both of your bunny faces. So pretty easy. All right, move those little guys out of the way. Bring these back. Let me zoom back out a little. Not that far. Okay. All right, so first I'm going to flood my chick's body. And now I'm going to flood the other parts of my egg. So orange is the next color. Green. And my green, the hole in my green is still cut very small, so I'm gonna cut it a little bit bigger. And I'm using a big giant green, but your green will be smaller. It's hard to try to hold it out of the way of the camera and flood at the same time. Okay. And cutting my purple open a little bigger. Okay, give that a little shake. And that one's done. Okay, all we have to do is finish our little chick, and it is very easy. So he, again, is just going to have little happy closed eyes. So they're just little rainbow eyes. I made him a little bigger. Well, this cookie spread a little more, so he's a little bigger than this cookie. And then the mouth is just kind of like a diamond. So you just go out and down and back up. And if you want your edges to be, your corners to be really sharp, you can use your toothpick or scribe and kind of pull your edges out. There you go. All right, hope you guys did great. Thank you. I love you.